Good evening, Gravity family. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer. I wanted to take a moment and share with you a part of my story. I'm going to go back to September 12th. I woke up in a care home, not really knowing what happened. I couldn't walk and was confined to a wheelchair. Later, I'd found out my husband had beaten me. I was there until December 4th of 2012. During that time, I had to learn to walk again. At times, I felt I was never going to walk. When an old friend, Craig, heard I was dying, which wasn't true, and came to see me, he helped me believe in myself and give me hope. I started walking little by little. By the end of November 2012, I was walking. I still had to use a walker now and then. I checked myself out of the hospital in December and went to live with my mom, who didn't really want me there. My son Ryan was with her, so I knew I belonged with him. On December 12th, 2012, I decided to stop all meds. And let me tell you, I was on a lot of meds. I went through about 2 weeks of detox and swore I never wanted to do drugs again. Well, on December 28th, my supposed friend Craig came over. It was his birthday. He wanted to get a room, get high, so guess what? I did. And from that point on, I started doing drugs again here and there. In February, I found out I was pregnant. I was about 2 weeks along. I had been praying for God to help me. I didn't want to live like that anymore or live in that drug home. I told Craig about the baby. He got mad and told me to have an abortion. I told him I didn't believe in abortions and I'm not going to do that. So he walked away. I was alone for months. I tried to find shelters that would take both me and my son, who was 11 at the time. It was hard because most shelters don't take boys of that age. I wanted things to change so much that I called CPS on myself. Like, really, who does that? But they wouldn't help me. I even told my son to tell the teacher about the living situations, but still no help. I was afraid to leave because my mom, she could become very, very violent. Finally, I found a program, but I had to send my son to live with somewhere else. I thought my heart was going to break. I waited for him to get out of school that summer and sent him to live with his brother and sister in Stockton. My plans from the beginning was to get help with housing. I thought it would only take a few months. I bounced around from program to program in a month's time, but I couldn't find one that fit my needs. See, I was still trying to be in control at that time. I ended up in a hospital in ICU for 7 days. After that, I stayed at a friend's house for a few days, but once again, I ended up at my mom's. I really didn't want to be there. My mom tried to kill herself over drugs and ended up in the hospital. That was when I said, God, help me. I want out of this. I called the Salvation Army in Lodi, and they said I could come, but it was only a night shelter. I had my uncle take me, and on my way, I called 2 friends, Tracy and Alan. Once I got there, I let Tracy know. It was on July 26, 2013, a Thursday. She came and picked me up. We went for root beer floats, and I was very broken and lost. We talked for a little bit, then she came back and had to the shelter with me and had dinner. Alan also showed up. They both talked to me about gravity. That is when Tracy invited me to Friday Morning Fire. So Tracy and Alan had both left. I had to check in for the night. Still very afraid because the guy that beaten me was homeless and living in Lodi. I had seen him at the shelter that evening eating dinner. I told the staff what had happened. They made sure that he stayed away from me. That Friday morning was when my life started to change. During worship that morning, I felt something I had never felt, and I surrendered my life to Jesus. I was so broken, lost, hurt, scared, and much more. At first, I couldn't come to Saturday night service because I had to be in the shelter if I wanted a place for the night. I struggled being in and out of the hospital almost nightly due to seizures. Then I had got sick and ended up at Tracy's. From there, Ted let me come and be a house mom at a way out. Slowly, my life was changing. I gave birth on October 23rd to a beautiful, healthy girl. After that, I went to live with Tracy. I stayed for 4 to 5 months. She and her daughter were and still are a blessing in my life. But like all caterpillars, it was time for me to grow into a butterfly and learn to fly. I was told about a studio apartment, so I went for it and moved in to my first place on my own. Things were really starting to change. My faith was getting stronger. The more I surrendered and stayed faithful, the more the blessings came. I'm not up here saying that life will instantly get easy. It took a lot of hard work and support. I eventually was offered a home in Burson, living next door to Olivia's grandparents, who turned out to be two of the best people. I call them my parents of choice. I prayed about it and moved in June 2014, where I still live today. God has blessed me in so many ways in the last 3 years, with my kids back in my life, a home, my license, a car. I went to college, and now I have a full-time job. I got my GED, and I no longer am on aid for the first time in 20 years, and so much more. I have been clean for 3 years, and this is the longest. This is the longest I have gone without a man in my life. I have Jesus, and that is all I need. When it is time, God will send the right guy my way. He is the only one that knows what I need. Today I can look in the mirror and see a beautiful woman looking back at me. Most mornings when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I look in the mirror and I say, "Good morning, beautiful." My daughter Olivia says, "Mom, you're a queen." She will also tell me I'm perfect, or when I do something she likes, she says, "You make me proud." Today I have a relationship with my daughter Sabrina that I have always wanted. I was there to watch her graduate from high school a year and a half early. Today I know that I can do anything with God in my life. I have learned to get out and let God. I had to humble myself. I had to lose the pride so God could come in and mend a broken heart. I have heard you can die from a broken heart, but God says, "Come to me, I will mend it. I will make you whole." I stand up here tonight to say, believe, have faith, even when it's hard, and you will feel like you're alone. He's there. He will carry you until you can walk. And if you fall, he will pick you up, dust you off, and hold you if you let him. I know he did it for me. He is my Father, the one true King. Thank you.